hardcore, Republican apologists, right-wing, berate anyone who disagrees with talking points that he had picked up from Rush Limbaugh. I thought, I'm going to last 6 weeks at best. And indeed, there were people that tried. I mean, we had death threats. We had to have security at the radio station. I didn't think it'd last 6 weeks. But for the first time in my 10 years of doing radio in Western North Carolina, since I've been working with Clear Channel, it's the first time I've ever not had a manager come and say, you shouldn't talk about that. Or maybe you should stay away from this one. In fact, I've been encouraged. We were talking about a situation where the city of Asheville, the zoning department, had reached a deal, a compromise between the neighborhood coalition and Super Walmart. And they reached the deal to protect the neighborhood, whatever it was going to be. And then 6 months later, the city came around in a midnight meeting hour kind of thing and gave Walmart everything they wanted. Well, I was pretty irate. Here was a situation in self-government where people had stood up and they talked about different things. They debated it out, and an agreement was reached. Whether you agreed with the agreement or not, it was reached. And then the city government violated the agreement with the people who put them there. Well, Walmart was an advertiser on my show at the time. I was pretty clear. I gave out phone numbers of executives from Walmart, encouraged people to call and share their interpretation of the situation. And Walmart called the advertising director of the station and said, we're thinking about doubling our advertising on your program, on your station. And they left the innuendo of, we're going to have to tone this guy down. Management told them that they were welcome to take their advertising somewhere else, came and told me about it, said, go on the air with it. It's opposite of what I perceived that I would have. That's the local management. Yeah, they do.
I have a couple questions about radio. I did radio for over a year, local radio station where I live. How big's your listening audience? 25, 30,000?
About 35 to 45,000 terrestrial signal from WWNC, but they actually came out with the online listenership ratings nationwide just recently, and my producer and I were actually intimidated to go on the air when we heard that. We're actually the number 43 show in the country. That's wild because we're in a 178 market, and we're not syndicated. We're one of the only top 50 that's not syndicated. So we do, and that's why podcasting, streaming is why we have that. But, you talk to, well, why are people listening in? I asked that question after those ratings came out. I threw it out on the air. I said, what in the world? There's got to be a mistake. I think there's supposed to be a 1 in front of that 43 or something. All of a sudden, I get a call from Texas, get a call from Kansas, get a call from Ohio. The 1-800 line's filling up for people listening around the country. And they said, well, because we're learning from you guys in North Carolina. They're saying the same things you guys are dealing with there, we're dealing with here, but you guys are getting people thrown in jail. And so it's the blogosphere and different things, people posting podcasts saying, hey, wow, you're not going to believe what these people in North Carolina are getting done. Wow, you won't believe the reaction of government to the Libertarian Party. They told them they don't exist. Wow. History is determined not by our actions, but by the response of government to our actions. That's what determines history. We wouldn't have had the revolution in America if the Redcoats hadn't shot up all those people in Boston. It was the reaction of government to the assertion of rights by the people that changes the course of history. We're supposed to assert our rights, and then what government does with it is what changes the course of history. But we have to be resolute. We have to be willing to stand by the assertion of our rights as individuals. You have a second question?
Well, I was wondering what your audience, of course, you're going on simulcast, you're going on, because it was just Rick and myself, and I had an hour, and we wound up doing 2 hours. And we didn't have anybody within our listening audience with the guts to call it.
Not a problem in Asheville.
Okay. It's not a bigger community, I realize that. But what times when we weren't on the air, you really picked up the Public Broadcasting Network or the Genesis Communication Network. And, they're pretty far out there. But I would get this stuff when I'd walk into a restaurant. They said, heard your show yesterday. Yeah, you're crazy. I'll give you the whole damn hour. You can call me a liar and prove me wrong. They never showed up. Of course, at the time the cops showed up, and I said, officer, is there something I can do for you? And he turned around and walked away.